Good morning to Bromfields in the 35 corridor. I'm D. Lee Edwards here, the host of the Real Deal Real Estate Show. Today's special guest is Bubba Meyer, Meyer Heating and Air Conditioning. We're going to be talking about winterizing equipment, cleaning protection, plus new products in the market, and maybe some finance information. But first, it's time for the New Braunfels Title Market Report. Today we're looking at Comal County, and sales continued their seasonal pullback to 765 homes sold in the last 90 days and 221 in the last 30. That's fairly close to last year, with the 90-day number under last year slightly, but the last 30 days were ahead. Home availability is stable, with 1,495 homes on the market in Comal County, with 27 under 200,000, 134 between 200 and 300,000, 371 between 300 and 400,000, 321 from 400 to 500, and 649 over $500,000. Now, the rental market continues its rise of saturation with 249 rentals on the market. This ties for the greatest number of rentals in the history of Comal County. There has been some softening in the market on rent prices, but apparently not enough to reduce the inventory. Mortgage rates continued their decline as 30-year conventional hit 7.41. That got us back to numbers of September, so some relief for buyers. 15-year lowered to 6.82, while FHA was at 6.79% and VA at 6.8. A little side note, you could probably buy down the interest now into the low sixes, and if it drops another 0.2, maybe into the high fives. The bond market was a mixed bag, with the 91-day T-bill yield down slightly to 5.285, while the Treasury, the 2-year Treasury yield, was up to 4.932. But the effect on the interest rates was the 10-year sliding to 4.529. Mortgage applications jump with the lower interest rates, moving some to jump in before they go up. Just may be enough to jumpstart the market for the holidays. Now, the Fed's pal says he's not sure they've done enough to bring inflation down. A similar comment of some retailers saying they've not seen a significant deflation in wholesale pricing. Well, with new payroll deals, union hits on the auto, still problems in the supply chain, there's lots of contributing factors that are keeping prices from improving, but the Fed's only solution seems to be hit the interest rate button. So that could come sometime in December if he wants to be the Grinch. Oil prices continued their decline this week, and West Texas Intermediate dropped to $76 a barrel. That's down $5 a barrel in a week. So good news for Thanksgiving travelers, possibly, as you'll see some prices at the pump adjust in a week or so. Now, the IRS announced the new tax thresholds for some. It's good news, and for others, well, it's a bigger chunk. Yep, if you make under $22,000 a year, you just pay 10%. If you make between $22,000 and $89.40, now this is married joint filing, $22,000 to $89,000, you pay 12%. If you make from $89,000 to $190,000, you're going to pay 22% plus $10,294 minimum. And if you make between $190,000 to $751,000, okay, and to $365,000, you're going to pay $32,580 plus 24% of your income. Now, if you make $364,000 to $462,000, that tab is $74,208 plus 32%. Well, that puts it up closer to 40, folks. All right, and then $462,000 to $693,000, you pay $105,000 plus 34%. And if you're those evil, rich, oh my God, terrible people, $693,000 or more, your first hit is $186,000 plus 37%. Now, if you're single, you get a break until you make $182,000, and after that, it really gets brutal. So you ought to spend some things to keep your income down, I guess. All right? So what's happening? Payroll numbers a bit confusing this week. U.S. payroll gained 150,000 jobs, while general labor costs show a surprise decline. Could be early retirements, and the private sector payroll rose. So it's really confusing. There's no real stable number. China, Russia side with Hamas. Go figure. Since they're buying all the things that China and Russia makes, like AK-47s, RPGs, and of course they want this to be their version of the Ukrainian proxy war. Don't forget, Iran is paying some of the bill, and others to disrupt peace in the Middle East. But the big game here, folks, is Iran wants to see Israel destroyed, pure and simple. Oh, and a little side note, folks, there's never in recorded history been a state of Palestine and Palestinian self-rule. Not in history. It was created by the Brits in the UN in 1948. Go check the facts. Go to Wikipedia and others, and you'll find the truth. Oh, by the way, look for the Israeli-Hamas war to impact the European economy, along with the Ukraine war. Russia is also going to get weapons from North Korea. That sounds bad for the Ukrainians, but for the South Koreans in the U.S., it may deplete some other sources of weaponry. The stock market began resetting downward on Thursday, though it had been on a jump and a rise on Wednesday. The Dow was trending at 33,884, while the Nasdaq hit 13,525, and the S&P was down to 4348, all numbers below last week. Now, some home sales study for this year, prices still sliding, interest rates down, oil prices down, stock down, bond market down, worldwide tension up, mortgage apps up, new brackets in the tax, not so friendly. Realty-wise, it was a good week. Everything else, not so much. You have 2 days left to go get your beer and Wurst at Wurstfest, and Thanksgiving's just around the corner, and boy, we still have some things to be thankful for. And that, my folks, is the real deal for November 11th, 2023. Now, don't go away. We'll be right back on the Real Deal Real Estate Show with our special guest, Bubba Meyer. You're listening to the Real Deal Real Estate Show on KGNB 1420 AM and 103.1 FM. We're back on the Real Deal Real Estate Show, and our special guest is Bubba Meyer, Meyer Heating and Air Conditioning. Good morning, Bubba.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Now, as a reminder, this segment of the show is brought to you by Bubba's Smoked Meats and Fancy Sauces. If it ain't smoking, it ain't Bubba. All right. So, Mr. Meyer, tell us about Meyer Heating and Air Conditioning. How long you been at it, and who are the brands you're hosting now?
Well, we've been around since 1995 when I started my business, and we are a day and night dealer for them, which is a subsidiary of Carrier. They handle a lot of different brands, but we've been doing this steadily, growing and growing every year since 95.
Well, I can tell that because I see a bunch of your panel trucks all over town.
Well, I'm telling you, it seems like I'm already, put it this way, I'm out of trucks right now because I've got them all filled with guys.
Well, that's good. Now, yeah. You've been you've been one of our go-to pros for 20 plus years. What has changed in the industry in the last few years that's really started to cause some dynamic changes?
Oh, the government is part of it. Them telling us, the manufacturers how efficient they need to make units, which is a good thing, but they get a little overzealous with some of this stuff. But we're just going to plug along and do exactly what they tell us to do and how we're going to do it.
And that's primarily in the issues of the refrigerant, right? How they've
Yes,
changed
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, well, they changed it from R22 years ago to a 410A, and now there's already coming down the pipe. We're just getting used to the 410A, and now they're coming out with another new one, and it's going to be, I don't know exactly when they're going to implement it, but they're already making units next year with the new refrigerant.
Well, it sounds like there's somebody lobbying for changes so that y'all have to, and the machinery changes, which forces people to have to change their systems out. And so that's the next question. If
Yep.
if I've got a unit that's 10 years or older, should I be looking at a replacement now?
Anything over 10 years old, you should probably start looking at replacement. They're still going to have all the refrigerant around for years and years on the old refrigerant, because we don't know exactly when they're going to cut off the old refrigerant exactly, and when they're going to cut off the units that can't have the old refrigerant in it. So right now, the type of units that are out there on the market, I will admit they are really nice. The true inverter units that ramp up and down. The outdoor units are so quiet now. It makes your backyard a peaceful place to be.
Now, that's good. Now, what's been the impact and the change of digital thermostats? Has that helped?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're all not all, but you can get Wi-Fi thermostats. You can control everything with your phone. They can read, like some of the new units that the new thermostats that we've put in, they're going to be able to analyze the system, and it's coming. They're already coming out there. You can call me and say, hey, I've got a problem with my system. And somebody in our office can look at your unit and see exactly what's wrong before we ever head out there.
That's awesome. That really helps.
I mean, that's really right. I mean, right around the corner.
And you
It's
see
amazing.
that coming more and more with the ion systems and
Yep.
Yep.
So indoor air quality is a big thing right now. A lot of good products out there for the indoor air quality.
Now, are you seeing more and more demand for mini splits, split packs to augment injured, or as being the main source of heating and cooling?
Well, I would say 90% is to augment something you've got. Keep your garage cool. Keep an upstairs room cool. Some people don't want to cool their whole house. They might even put them in their master bedroom. Very seldom, at least in my part of the business, do we ever do a whole home with nothing but the mini split type units. They do make indoor air handlers now, but they're still pretty pricey. And for what you're getting, it's mainly 1 or 2 units at a time that we put in for people.
Mm-hmm. Now, other trends that are going on, are you seeing more people on the heat shifting to gas or staying with all electric?
You know, I would say the heat pumps are so perfected now that is much more efficient than a gas system. It didn't used to be that way years ago. 20 years ago, it was better to have gas. But the price of gas and all of the stuff they're trying to do on the gas end, now you only want your stove. You don't even want maybe your hot water heater gas, but as far as your heating and cooling system, you're going to want to stick with a heat pump.
All right. We've got to take a short break to, listen from our sponsors. And you're listening to The Real Deal Real Estate Show on KGMB 1420 AM and 103.1 FM. We'll be right back. And we're back on The Real Deal Real Estate Show. And our special guest today is Bubba Meyer of Meyer Heating and Air Conditioning. And this segment of the show is brought to you by none other than Meyer Heating and Air Conditioning, keeping you comfortable all year long. Now, we're starting to head into winter. They say it's going to be a real ugly little winter, maybe another snowpocalypse. Is it too late to get my winter inspection and to get myself put together?
Absolutely not. Whether you use anybody or not, I recommend to turn your heater on now. Don't wait till it's, 30 degrees and then go, oh, let me turn my heater on for the first time. Turn it on while you still have a chance to get somebody out there. It's just smart to do that.
And that's good. And by the way, you should sign up for semi-annual inspections. I can tell you that I've been signed up with the Meyers for years, and, it's a great thing because a lot of times it's just a capacitor or something else. So if you catch it early or you catch that fan that's, starting to wobble a little bit, you can save a lot of money. Isn't that true?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, just a small thing. You get a capacitor that's not in tolerance, and you might not know it, but your compressor sure knows it. And if that compressor runs long enough, you're going to ruin your compressor.
Now, with that said, there's people that are looking at it now and says, my gosh, is there a problem in the supply chain? Can I get a new unit before, it's really bad? And we've been worried about the supply chain all year. How are you doing on being able to handle system change-outs currently?
Right now, we haven't had any issues. There's units out there. Now, there might be specific kind of units that a customer might exactly want that we can't get, but there is a wide range of any kind of system that you want, and the different SEER ratings, all of this. We're having very good luck getting stuff right now.
Well, that's good. Now, we had a listener that sent me an email question and said, hey, about 3 years ago, I had my condenser on my unit upstairs in my two-story house replaced, and this summer with 115-degree heat, I couldn't get it down below 74 degrees. Do I need to add a mini split to the upstairs? Am I under capacity, or can I just not overcome 115-degree heat in a two-story?
Well, that's a little of you hit the nail on the head with every point you just said. A lot of it is under capacity. A lot of it is your upstairs. If you have a single unit and you're trying to do an upstairs and a downstairs, depending on who did your duct work, you have to be really, really good at duct design to get it so perfect. And a lot of people do install a mini split on an upstairs. It's not getting any cooler in the summers, and you could be under capacity, but systems are designed for like 78 degrees at a 95-degree outdoor unit. Well, I don't run my unit at 78 degrees. That's what they want you to run it, to be the most energy efficient. They want you to keep your house at 78 degrees, and that's on a 98-degree day. Well, when you have 110 degrees outside, it didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that's never going to cool.
Yeah, and the other thing is that there could be a possibility that their insulation is compacted, and they...
Oh, absolutely, and if we do that too, if we go to somebody's house and we see their unit's not cooling good, and we check it all out, and we say your unit's doing all it can do, but you could use a little more insulation. We do add attic insulation to people's houses.
That's great.
We do blow it in.
And the other part of that, I guess we didn't talk about, is vent. Sometimes your ventilation system or your delivery system has leaks, or the joints have come disconnected. So that's why inspection's really important, correct?
Oh, absolutely. If you get a good home inspector, or just a person like us, if you tell us to come out, we inspect all your joints, all your seams, all your ducts, and just repairing a bunch of duct leaks can make a world of difference on how your unit's going to cool in these 110-degree days.
All right. So now people say, okay, so My system's getting old. It was acting up. This is a good time to change. But 6-10 grand, it could be really hard. I don't have that kind of cash. Do you have some good financing structures that can help people take care of the bite?
Yes, we have two great finance companies that we use. We have some that are 0% interest for 36 months. We have all kind of range of price points for people that can satisfy whatever they need. We have some really good products out there for that.
Well, that's good. So, folks, right now, you ought to be getting it inspected. Go turn your heating unit on and get rid of those fuzz bunnies that, get in there on your system so that you know the difference between smoke and heat and real fire. and then call to get your unit serviced. Now, how can people get a hold of you, Bubba?
You can call our office is the easy way, 830-620-6919, or you can go to meyerac.com and talk to us through the computer.
Well, we appreciate you being on the show, as always, and we appreciate you being our go-to pro. And till next time, thank you so much.
Yes, sir, Lee. We'll talk to you all later.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Now, folks, we've still got a little to go through. We have just enough time to give you one hot pick of the week. 922 Twin Oaks on the Hill is a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath, updated home, ready for move-in. Nice yard, patio, deck, side entry garage, large open floor plan, fireplace, hardwood floors, and more. This 2,158 square foot gym is priced at only $549,888, and we give it 3 jalapenos. Now, for these and other great deals, you can go to DeLeeEdwardsRealty.com and search the entire NMLS or call 830-620-7653. That's 830-620-SOLD. And, well, talk to one of our seasoned agents like David Ozuna. Now, next week, we'll have more market news, great guests, as well as finance and investment guidance. Till next Saturday at 10 a.m., join us for the Real Deal Real Estate Show on KGNB 1420 a.m. and 103.1 FM. Till next Saturday, well, folks, have a great week, New Braunfels, and good investing.